I'm very short, so I have to really move it down. It's been such a delight to be here. I'm really honored to receive this award on behalf of the entire Marshall Project and to have had the opportunity to talk to so many of you about this passion that we share, which is, as Jeff so eloquently put it, in these very, very difficult times where there's so much disagreement about facts and so much pain to try to bridge. I feel very privileged to be part of an organization and to see the work that you are doing here that share a goal, which is to try to, with humility and with empathy, to try to see if we can arrive at truth, which is always sort of in the eye of the beholder, but what we can do as journalists is bring to the fore people's truth. And the Marshall Project, as you saw in this film, was founded by a man named Neil Barsky, who was a journalist who became a hedge fund manager, who read 2 books that made him realize that many, many Americans did not know about what went on behind bars and did not know about the criminal justice system and were really reading about, crimes committed, but not critiques of the system as a whole or examinations of abuses. And that's what we were founded to do, is to try to model what criminal justice journalism could look like that included a wider array of people who are usually included, and that looked systemically at a system that has been responsible for a lot of suffering. And it's been deeply gratifying for us to see that in the years since the Marshall Project's founding, we see far more coverage of a wide array of aspects of the criminal justice system, and we hope and believe that we played some role in bringing this to people's attention. And as I said earlier today, we cover criminal justice, but not crime. And this criminal justice is often sensationalized in headlines and in a kind of coverage that doesn't treat the people who are involved in it as human beings with complex lives on all sides of the spectrum. And what we feel that we need to do is focus on accountability reporting what we find, not what we want to see. And we believe that trying to work in this way to unearth and document abuse has exposed some of the deepest, most intractable injustices in the United States. Injustices of race and inequality and poverty and education and treatment of mental illness and treatment of addiction and the many other things that plague this system that we have. And we believe that reality is actually messy, and it often doesn't fall into very easy categories. And often the people in it are flawed. Even people we might hope to champion, they're often very flawed. But what I do believe, and I know is taught here, is that if you don't embrace nuance and complexity and messy reality, then you're not really doing your job. And you're not really showing reality as it is. So if you want to change it, you will understand the full scope of what's there to change. And as the film showed you, we want to include people who are often left out of news coverage, and that's the incarcerated, their families, and people who live and work in the criminal justice system. And we ask people what they need and what they want to learn about the system. And I also have been really inspired today by talking to you and learning that there's so much vibrant interest in doing the kind of work that I've been privileged to spend my life doing and to work with my colleagues at the Marshall Project to try to achieve. And one of the things that is really important for us is to think about criminal justice information at the local level, because so much is decided there, and it is tragically that at the local level, we have seen so many resources taken away from journalism, so many budgets cuts, so many businesses that have failed, because this kind of work is expensive and time-consuming. And, you know, assembling data and getting public records and knocking on doors and building trust and taking time to get it right, these are very precious and difficult commodities. And I would just say that it's a privilege to work with all the people at the Marshall Project. And it's not just reporters and editors, and it's designers and product people and the people who raise money to have us supported by philanthropy. It's a whole team effort that I am representing here, and that you are, to our enormous gratitude, honoring. And on a personal level, these have been, as Jeff said, a very difficult, tumultuous years for the criminal legal system, for public health, and the health of democracy. And even after 40 years practicing journalism, I feel so lucky every day to have journalism to turn to for purpose, and to know that so many of you share that with so many of us gives me heart. And I feel even luckier to work with everyone at the Marshall Project who share the sense of mission and commitment. So we thank you again, all of us, for your precious recognition and this great honor. Thank you.